Howdy there folks, it's Connie here again and we're back with some more stories from Reddit. As always, if you enjoy these videos, be sure to hit like and subscribe and also the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Alrighty, let's get right into it. Okie dokie guys, we're on legal advice today. This one was written by user Easy Development and it's titled Landlord attached GPS tracker to my car without my consent or knowledge. Hello, a little background. My partner and I were getting the spare tyre to my car unmounted from the bottom of the car when he discovered a circular magnetic device attached to the lip of the bumper of the car. We initially couldn't tell what it was, but after using Google Lens we discovered that it was a land air sea tracking device. When we discovered this we were obviously worried, but I was especially worried because I'd been stalked and attacked by an ex in November of last year. Thinking it belonged to him, we filed a police report and had them find out who the owner of the tracker was. To our surprise, the tracker was purchased by our landlord of about 3 years. Apparently he has been checking our location periodically and the device was live when we found it. It came as a huge shock to us because he seemed like a genuinely good person who has a family and who even helped us install floodlights and curtains to our home after I was attacked. The police have been trying to contact him to get some answers, but he has not returned their calls. It has only been a day though. Other than feeling unsafe in our own home, we also feel like it was a huge invasion of privacy and honestly a breach of trust. Again, our rapport with him seemed good and he seemed like a family man, so we just want to know what the future of our housing situation is going to be. I live in Oregon, so I know that there can be a case made in criminal court. My main question is, would I be able to sue him? Sorry if this seems all over the place, but I found this all out today, and I'm still processing what is happening. Any advice would be much appreciated. My god, that is scary. What would he need with a tracking device on your car? I mean, I can't think of anything good, can you? Let's go to some comments. Better check the house for cameras. He may have been making sure you weren't home so he could go in and do some more shady crap. Commenter replies, this right here. It's not much more of a thought process on his part to install cameras in the apartment. Be very thorough. Remove vents, outlet covers, especially in bedroom and bathroom. Change Wi-Fi, computer and other device passwords. You might be able to use your cell phone camera to detect IR light from hidden cameras. In the end, it's best to terminate the lease and find a new place. For some reason, my initial thought with the landlord was that he was tracking when you weren't there to get inside. I immediately thought maybe he was planting a camera and wanted some amount of time to do so. Hopefully not, but I'd check around just in case. That's crazy though. On top of the tracker, I would be worried about cameras in the house and such. Should really tear apart your house and get a camera of your own so you can see if he's entering your house when you're not home. Yeah, scary proposition, but it seems to be the most common one people are jumping to here. Okay, let's see what happens in the update. 1 year later. Wow, I can't believe it's been almost a year since I posted this. A lot has happened between now and then, and I could write a novel about these updates, but writing is not my strong suit, so I apologize if this update seems relatively brief. It's a long update, but a lot of things happened. So, as some commenters guessed, it was my ex who attacked and assaulted me in November of 2022 who attached the GPS tracker to my car. My ex, from what I remember, used Reddit a lot, so I had to wait to give these updates. Did I mention that he was an ex that I haven't talked to in over 8 years? Anyway, the way he was caught and his behaviour following being caught is absolutely unhinged. I posted this the day after the cops showed me that the GPS tracker was registered under my landlord's name, but it soon became very clear that my ex had used my landlord's identity to try and cover his tracks, and he almost got away with it. He put my landlord's name and address as the information for when you register the land, air and sea tracker. The cops showed up to my landlord's home and essentially interrogated and questioned him about the situation. Obviously, my landlord had nothing to hide, so he answered their questions, allowed them to search his wallet for any associated credit cards, and his phone for any associated numbers. He obviously came up clean, and that's when the real investigating started. The tracker was linked to a track phone that my ex must have been using as a burner phone. It also requires you to make monthly payments via credit card, but he would use a prepaid Visa that had no name or identity associated with it. He probably also paid cash for these prepaid cards. So, all of this covering up, and you know what got him? A woman's voice. Thankfully, the police officer investigating the case took every avenue to catch him, which included setting up a mini sting operation. Since the only lead was the track phone, the officer had a female colleague call the phone number to try and bait him. The call went a little something like this. She said, "Hi, is this so-and-so?" He says, "Yes, who is this?" She says, "This is so-and-so from the bar. We met the other night and you gave me your number. I just wanted to see if you wanted to hang out sometime." He says, "Oh yeah, I remember you. We should definitely meet up," and so on. The police believed that the recording of the call itself was enough evidence for probable cause, but they wanted to get him meeting her in person to really solidify the PC. They were texting back and forth for a while, but I think he eventually realized that it was too good to be true, and that the GPS monitor was no longer going anywhere other than the sheriff's office. He must have put two and two together and stopped, but not all hope was lost. The cop got voice verification from me and one other person that could verify that it was his voice. He was arrested for identity theft and illegally affixing a GPS monitor to my car. Both can be considered a felony since I had a protective order against him. The process of arresting him and indicting him was no walk in the park though. They gave him the opportunity to turn himself in instead of being arrested by an officer or being picked up. Well, when he realized the trouble he was in, he checked himself into a mental hospital, which was a loophole for him to not be taken into custody, and which meant a mountain of paperwork and work for the DA's office to get charges seen before a grand jury. My experience going through the DA's office could be a whole other thread, but I'll spare you the details. The grand jury eventually indicts him on both counts, and I awaited trial. That should be the end of the story, right? Wrong. Not even 2 months after he's indicted, I see him outside my house. I was driving home from a date night with my partner, and we took a different road than we would normally take home because we saw some cute ducks in the neighbour's yard, and it caused us to take a detour. Well, thankfully we detoured that day, because as we were about to rear the corner of the road we lived in, we saw him. It was broad daylight, and he wasn't even trying to hide his identity, it seemed like. In fact, he just looked like a normal guy walking around the neighbourhood. At first, I thought I was just seeing things because I didn't think he would be that careless to be that close to my house after everything. He had a no-contact order against him that requires he not be within 500 feet of my home or vehicle, which he was within. As we turn the corner and I start noticing him, he notices us and immediately turns himself so he's back facing us, and just kind of pauses, acting like he's looking at something, probably hoping we don't notice that it's him. I tell my partner to stop the car, and when we stop, he starts speed walking the opposite direction of where our car was headed. We circled back around to verify that it was him, but at that point he had disappeared into the bushes. We slowly start to head back towards the road we live on, trying to see if we can spot him. As we keep going, he pops out of the bushes about 10 feet ahead of us, makes direct eye contact with us, and then starts sprinting up the road. We head in his direction to try and get pictures of him. We were able to get 2 blurry pictures of him, but probably not enough to verify completely that it was him. I filed a police report and talked to his parole officer about what happened. The PO had him come in and get a GPS monitor anklet, pending investigation. I also reached out to the cop that helped me with the GPS tracker and assault case. He helped me go to every neighbour's house and ask for video evidence of a creepy stalker ex. Some neighbours didn't answer, other places didn't have anything. But the place with the bushes? They had a picture and video of him clear as day, crouching in their bushes. Needless to say, he is currently in jail facing multiple charges against him. I want to delve into more detail about the justice system and my grief with it, but for now I'll just end on a positive update. Thank you to those who gave me advice and showed actual concern. To those who commented that this was an ad for land, air, sea trafficking devices, piss off. I also want to acknowledge the cop who has been helping me ever since I was first attacked. He saw me right after I was assaulted in 2022 and saw how shaken up I was. He went out of his way to do a sting operation on the GPS tracker, and he went door to door to find video evidence of my stalker. I don't think the average cop would do half the work he has done, and I will be forever grateful for that. Alrighty, and there you go guys, that's the end of that story. Wow, talk about an unhinged boyfriend. Did I miss something, or did Opie mention that they broke up 8 years ago? If so, that's crazy. Glad to hear he's in jail now though. And yeah, props to that cop. All too often you hear the other side of the story. But it's good to hear of a cop doing their job for once in this regard. What are your thoughts? Let me know down below. Alrighty, let's move on to another one. Okie dokie, we're jumping over to Off My Chest. This one was written by Throwaway Account, and it's titled, My boyfriend woke me up at 2 AM to make him dinner. I made him leave instead. I'm seriously never dating again. No advice needed, just want to vent. Throwaway for the usual reasons. So I became official with this guy a couple of months ago. He was sweet, kind, funny, gorgeous, the usual stuff. Everything was fine. We'd stay at each other's places, have date nights, general relationship stuff. In short, no red flags. A couple beige ones here and there, but everyone has those. Then came the other night. He's currently having to pick up the slack at his job due to multiple people quitting. We decided to spend the weekend at my place as his roommates can be quite loud and he needed to concentrate on fixing a system at his job so he can remotely work. Friday is fine. We stay in and in between his working we do the usual couple stuff. Saturday comes and something has gone wrong and the stress is doubled, so he isn't eating anything I make, which is fine. I simply remind him there are leftovers in the fridge. By 11 PM he's still working, so I head to bed. I am then startled awake by him at 2 AM, shaking me, telling me he's hungry now. Confused, I remind him about the leftovers and turn over to go back to sleep, but he gets grumpy and tells me I need to make him something fresh, now. I'm honestly completely confused and so sleepy while he rattles on about coconut shrimp or something. Still half asleep, I just stare at him as I try to work out what the F is happening. I'm guessing my silence ticked him off as he started having a go at me for not doing my duty as his girlfriend. That woke me up fully and I told him to get out of my house. His attitude changed then and he was apologizing, but I just repeated myself and eventually he left the room. I followed him, picked up his stuff, put it into a bag and once again told him to get out. He looked like a deer in headlights. He kept trying to say sorry and hug me, and it was only when I threw his car keys into his arms that he realized I was serious and left. This was Sunday morning. It's now Monday night and I still refuse to speak to him. He's tried calling and texting, but I'm honestly just annoyed and dumbfounded. I know I'll have to speak to him at some point, but I don't want to. He's an idiot. If and when I do speak to him, I'll update. For now, I'm going to bed. Wow, talk about an idiotic brain lapse from him. Like, what did he honestly expect? Her to just wake up and start whipping up a meal for him? Like, come on, bro. Let's go to the comments. A 31-year-old man shakes his sleeping girlfriend awake because he wants fresh food in the middle of the night. He's a man-child and not a thoughtful partner. Good for you and tossing him out. Baby boy should have acted like a grown-up and ate the leftovers like you told him to. Grow the frick up. After reading story after story on Reddit of women letting men walk all over them, this is incredibly refreshing. I'm so proud of you. Good job. In your shoes, I wouldn't even feel the need to communicate further. Block him. He knows what happened. F that. Don't speak to him. Maybe the next woman will be spared the bullcrap if he manages to learn. Wow, that is awesome that you were able to stand up for yourself like that. What a douche. Sorry it ended this way. You clearly deserve better. I mean, do you have to speak to him? He showed his true colours. There's little point. Yeah, agreed. Opie makes an update the next day. Holy sweet jeebus, that's a lot of notifications. Thank you for your overwhelming support. Glad to know I'm not the only one who thinks this is stupid. Also, to the ones who said I should have just done it or agreed with the man-child, thank you, I needed a laugh today. On to the update. He came into my job to talk and explained that his friend saw a video of a woman being woken up to cook for her man, and they decided to test it out on their partners as a loyalty test, so my initial judgment of him being an idiot was correct. He was surprised when I broke up with him, but he was calm and accepting, albeit sad. Either way, that's over with. To answer a few concerns. Nope, no drugs, just a bad judgment. No mental health concerns. Yes, he's stressed, but it's surface stress that'll be fine once his work hires some new people, I'm sure. Honestly, not my concern anymore. And someone mentioned unconditional love. The relationship was less than 3 months. Chill out. Seriously though, thank you for even taking the time to read my sleepy ramblings. I'm going to buy myself a nice bottle of wine once I've finished work as a thank you to myself for not settling. Until next time. Alrighty guys, and that's the end of that one. Yeah, great ending there. I mean, come on, the dude's in his 30s and wanted to test his girlfriend of 3 months. Get real, he deserves that. What are your thoughts? Let me know down below. Alrighty, let's move on. Alrighty, jumping over to Today I F'd Up. This one was written by user Donter, and it's titled, Today I F'd up by texting my date that I might end up marrying him seconds after we ended our date. This just happened to me, literally 10 minutes ago. I am dying, I am dead, end me now, O holy ghost. I thought this only happened in some poorly written rom-coms, the kind where life hardly imitates the real one. I want to bury myself and never come to see the light again. Why me? Oh, why me? 10 painfully long minutes ago, I, exalted by the wonderful date I went on with this handsomely gorgeous man, who also happened to be a friend of mine for the last 3 years, against my apartment door that I had just closed on his beautiful face, I typed these words that will fiercely haunt me now. B, I think I'm going to end up marrying this guy. This was meant for my best friend, the only other soul I could muster to express my vulnerable feelings. I sent this deeply poetic text to him instead. Do you think there is a void big enough on this planet to hold all the misery, all the embarrassment? Do you think I can make a pact with the devil to turn back time? I would just need 10 minutes. That'd be really nice. Can I please die now? Literal and metaphorical death is the only relief I might know. I am currently in my library, sprawled across the floor, intently staring at the ceiling. Man, I think I'll be here forever. Oh, yeah, that's a bad one. I mean, who knows, he might find it endearing, or scary. Take your pick, I guess. Let's go to the comments. What is this, a Jane Austen novel? I once texted my girlfriend saying, I want to snuggle with you, only I accidentally sent it to my boss. Wrong thread, he answered. On the plus side, you have a library. My wife did the same thing to me when we were dating, except she tried texting her friend how much she didn't like me. Someone replies, and yet you're married to her. They reply back, slim pickings. Okay guys, on to an update. B, I owe you an update. Good news, there's so much staring at the ceiling one can do before pure boredom kicks in and the realization that the desire to scream the F word at the top of your lungs will most likely not last for an eternity. Bad news, you guys did me dirty by blasting my still fresh embarrassment on the front page and apparently on a famous Portuguese radio show this morning. Cool, cool, cool. So, on to the meaty love update. Once I realised the text blunder, I quickly texted him that it was not meant for him, with a crying emoji for good measure. Sweet, sweet man that he is, he responded immediately to let me know that he doesn't read texts not meant for him, winky face. I subsequently asked for permission to die. He said, please don't, kissing emoji. This morning he texted me about some travel plans we have down the line. Bless this handsome man. The gods are cruel, but not that cruel. This is where I should clarify that the original post was obviously a tad hyperbolic, just like that text, go figure. I slept well last night and I also laughed. At myself, the blunder, just the ridiculous timing. What also got imprinted on me was the exact moment I wrote and sent that text. The moment he leaned and kissed me goodnight, I looked at him as I closed my apartment door, locking it and at once turning around and heavily sighing and smiling, keys still in hand. 2 weeks ago, he had proposed going on a walk at the park. I had an inkling somehow that after knowing each other for 3 years, he was going to finally, perhaps, become vulnerable and share a few things. I had been in a serious relationship when we met, and what I know now to be out of respect and my ironclad boundaries, he never made any advances. But I was single now, and at the park, sitting there together, he looked at me and said he had feelings for me. Long time, 3-year-long feelings. And right there at Prospect Park on a clear night, under some 35 visible stars, we counted, he kissed me. Last night it was my turn to be vulnerable, even if accidentally. For once, I think I understand Ted. He was always the guy I wanted to throw my shoe at whenever his ridiculous face showed up on the screen, which was a lot. As for the library, I'm not Jane Austen, but I'm a New Yorker, and the luxury of ample space is not something I recognise. My dream as a child refugee, growing up in deep poverty, was to have a dedicated place for all the books I could buy when I would grow up and have money. Here's a pic of my library nook that I built through vintage thrifting, DIY projects and patience. The library. This is it, folks. The update. I might prefer this life over any rom-com. Wow, great story, and beautifully written. Opie comments on the library. You guys, it's not a literal library, it's a corner of my apartment I've turned into a library nook. Also, for what it's worth, this is an embarrassing story that just literally happened to be me. But believe me, as a refugee who has suffered through deep poverty from early childhood, I'm well aware of all the hardships existing out there. Now let me go back to staring at the ceiling. One commenter replies, "You just ruined my mental picture of you in a dramatic swoon across a plush tapestry on the floor of a dusty Victorian library, cheeks flushed and with the back of your hand across your forehead, muttering things like, 'Woe is me,' and 'Verily I am vexed.'" One comment adds, "Make it into a joke. Bring up that that's what they say in those rom-coms, and honestly, just make it a laughable experience for both. Example, 'I think I'm going to end up marrying this guy,' says every girl on a rom-com. Make it into a quote. I don't know how to explain it, but I'm the type of person to turn my stuff up into a joke." Opie says, "I'm probably going to greet him with a chirpy 'Hi, husband' next time I see him." Okay, Opie makes one last update, 4 years later. 3 years after I mistakenly pressed send, texting this gorgeous specimen of a guy I would marry him seconds after ending our first date, keys still in hand as I struggled to both text and lock the door, and subsequently sprawled across my library wishing for the floor to engulf me, I did end up marrying the man. Damn, what in the world, life? I thought I'd let you guys know since you did help me with your funny comments and shared shameful moments to eventually get myself up that fateful evening, dust myself off, and not commit cringe seppuku. It's been 3 years of pure joy, and he's still as dreamy and kind, you guys. And it was, kids, that's how I met your father after all. See you in the next chapter. Alrighty guys, and we're leaving that one there. Let me know your thoughts down below. Anyway, that's it from me today. I hope you guys enjoyed those stories. Thanks for making it to the end, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Cheers.